It is a game day, Donno drop here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by betteredge.com. Use our code 5RSN, brought to you by Prize Picks, code FIVE5, and brought to you you Break Wheel Fix. So Heat and Celtics tonight, game number 2. Heat have that 1-0 lead in the series, but Ethan Skolnick, I think the Celtics lead in the quarters. So depending on which way the Celtics fans are counting this series, they might even consider themselves up in the series right now. How are you?
It's not just the fans. It's the coach. It's the coach. Joe Mazzulla mentioned it after the game. It's funny when a plan comes together. Like, I just threw it out there as a troll before the game, game one. I said, whatever the Heat do, they better win the most quarters tonight. And literally, our old friend Ed Berliner, who used to be in, he used to do a lot of national sports. He lives in South Florida. He's a big hockey fan. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He didn't mention my name, but he posted on Facebook about how some idiot put on there about how whatever the Heat do, they got to win more quarters. And I'm like, hey, I'm the idiot. And I was basically just trolling everybody. And nobody got the – well, like 700 Heat fans must have gotten the joke because there were 700 likes on the tweet.
Yeah.
But then others did not get the joke until afterwards, where literally that's what happened again. And this has gotten incredibly predictable – it's just like, I don't know. It's like whatever the Heat do, it's never about them. It's always about the team that they're facing. And it's not just the Heat that are dealing with this. Like, if the Heat play the Nuggets in the finals, which looks like it could happen now.
Yeah. If
the Heat play the Nuggets, it will be about what teams are doing in the draft. Like, there will be nothing about those two teams in particular. And I saw that the Nuggets finally gotten sick of it. Like, Mike Malone has spoken out about it. Jamal Murray has spoken out about it. They've been the best team this year. I mean, the Celtics and the Bucks, but they've been the best team. They won the West convincingly in the regular season. And they had guys coming back like Porter and Murray from injury. And they are now fully integrated. They upgraded their bench with our old friend Bruce Brown and also with KCP. And they're the best team in the NBA right now. And they're getting no attention. They also have the best player in the NBA right now, and he gets very little attention. And the Heat get even less. So it's just remarkable. And yes, of course, it is about the quarters tonight. But I looked on Better Edge, where you can use the code 5RSN. You get $20 to play, and you can't bet by quarter apparently. so you can't go on there and say, the Heat will win 3.5 quarters tonight. It's not allowed. So as far as I know, the NBA is still playing by full game rules. This is not the Continental Basketball Association where you get a point for winning a quarter. Maybe it would be more fun, but that's not the way that this is done. So as far as I know, the Heat are up 1-0.
Well, and you mentioned Better Edge, and one of those things, Ethan, this has been a trend all throughout the postseason. You know, the Heat were underdogs in every game against the Bucks and most of the games against the Knicks. And I noticed now the same trend that was happening against the Bucks is happening here, where it's like you have the other team, as in not the Heat, are favored by a lot of points, and then the Heat beat that team, and then for some reason the knee-jerk reaction from Vegas is, well, now they're going to beat them even worse than we thought they were going to beat them last time. So let's go. Oh, Celtics were 8-point favorites in game 1. They lost. Well, now they're going to be extra angry. We're going to make them 9-point favorites for game 2. So despite the fact that the Heat stole that game 1 on the road, they're actually bigger underdogs for game 2 than they were for game 1. Now, I understand if you're we're talking spreads here. I can understand if you're talking straight up.
Right.
For what it's worth, the Heat haven't won a game 2 yet in this postseason. They've lost both of the game 2s that they played in. So obviously I can understand the Celtics being favored, but Celtics -9 to me, it's kind of insane. So I would encourage everyone to get on Better Edge with our code 5RSN and take advantage of that. But I mean, Celtics -9. Do you think they're going to blow the Heat out tonight?
I don't. I don't know that the Heat win tonight, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Now you look at the other 2 game 2s because they're kind of polar opposites. Because one plays into this narrative and the other doesn't. So the first one, no Giannis, and the Bucks just shot the hell out of the ball, and Miami got blown off the floor. And I thought their attitude in that game was, we got one. Okay. And again, that was early in the postseason. Like, we didn't really know what this team was turning into. And the idea that they got one in Milwaukee and then we're going to get 4 days off when they came home, it's kind of like, okay, you relax, you exhale. They're shooting in a way they're never going to shoot again. So, okay. But then you look at the game 2 against New York, which I think is more representative of what Miami has been from a grit, toughness, resilience standpoint in these playoffs. They didn't have Jimmy, and they had that game won. I mean, Scott Foster won that game for the Knicks. I mean, the three that wasn't, all kinds of different plays in that game, obviously. And yet the Heat with their role players, nearly had them beat. And so I think that the line, I mean, could the Celtics clear it? Yes. Do I like? I know Sean Rochester, our guy, who is a Heat fan, but he likes the Celtics giving the points tonight. I don't, and I don't because I just don't think the Heat are of the mindset right now to let a game go. I just don't think that's going to happen. So do they win the game? No, but I think they're going to. I don't know that they're going to win the game, but I think they're going to scratch and claw to be in the game at the end, at the very least, or to sort of maybe backdoor cover or something along those lines. I wouldn't give the 9. I also heard that Jimmy came out of game 1 feeling pretty good with the ankle. So, no significant setbacks there. So that's helpful. And, they really didn't stretch their guys too much. And I think there's a couple other players who could be injected in the mix tonight. I expect to see Haywood Highsmith maybe get some of the Zeller minutes. It's another fresh body they'll throw out there. And the Celtics played, really just played 7 in the first game. And, Brogdon played 37 minutes off the bench. So I don't think that they're necessarily, and also the Heat had 4 days off rest beforehand, so they're more rested overall. I would probably take the Celtics on the money line tonight, but I would take the Heat to cover. I don't think they're going to get blown out.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, and obviously blowouts happen sometimes in the playoffs, but the idea of laying 9 points on somebody, especially against a team like the Heat, who's defied the odds so far all postseason long, like if I were actually going to bet Celtics -9, I would be feeling very uncomfortable through the rest of the evening. So I'm with you on that.
I mean, unless the entire Heat team stayed up to watch the Panthers last night, in which case then that changes the. Because I saw UD was putting in an IG at 2 in the morning, although his services may not be needed on the court tonight. But that would be the only thing of is that they're all as tired as we are. Because I made it through 3 overtimes. I did not make it to the 4th. I did not.
I didn't make it through the second period, and it's only because I've got this nasty cold. And I'm glad I had committed to, like, shortly after the first intermission, I started getting ready for bed because I've been feeling like crap all week. And then when I woke up this morning and I saw the Panthers won it in 4 overtimes, I'm like, man, thank goodness I didn't stay awake till the end of regulation. Because if I had still been awake at the end of regulation, I'm not going to not watch overtime. And then if I watch one overtime, I'm not going to not watch the second and the third and the fourth. So I would not be feeling any better today.
I woke up with drool on my pillow and my daughter coming in and saying, "Aren't we going to school?" That's pretty much what happened this morning. It is crazy to me how they're drawing off each other, these two teams, and it's nice. I mean, there has been this sort of under the surface annoying rivalry bitterness between the Heat and the Dolphins for years, which I have felt has mostly originated from the Dolphins side and a lot of jealousy of the Heat, starting with their owner, who always has to have the Heat in his mouth for some reason. But the Heat and the Panthers have always had a better relationship than that. And so the fact that they're going through this together, and you have Jimmy Butler, wearing a Kachuk jersey while he's doing his stuff at Emerson College yesterday, and then who scores the winning goal last night? Kachuk. I wish I'd put some money on that because that was to me that was an easy call. He didn't do anything for 3 periods yesterday, and I know we don't want to get too much of the Panther weeds here, but he didn't do anything for 3 periods, and I did finally put my daughter to bed at that point, and I'm like, I think the Chuck E. Cheese guy is going to score in overtime. So I should have just took 4 periods, but it just felt like he was due. But it's just nice to see what the two organizations are doing, and they really have parallel stories. I know you had Alex and Brady on here, but it's not just the 8 seed thing, but Zito basically channeled Pat Riley with the Kachuk move. Like that's a Riley move to trade a really good player for an even better player, and to have to part with something significant like they did with Huberdeau, and to bring in Kachuk and Uyghur to bring in Kachuk.
To your point, I know you remember this as well, if not even better than I do. I remember a lot of Heat fans being upset when they made the Shaq trade, like, how could we give up Karan Butler? Like,
and Lamar.
I can't believe, and Lamar, I can't believe we're giving up Odom and Karan. I don't know if 2 people were too upset about the Brian Grant part of it because he was older at that time.
Right.
I remember people thinking the Heat gave up too much for Shaq, and I think it was worth it in the end.
I think so too. Well, the Glenn Rice for Zoe was Pat's first move, and you trade a guy who was a borderline all-star player, and they're probably gonna have the same feelings when Tyler Hero's traded this offseason. If it's for Dame, they probably won't have those feelings. But it's always been the Heat move or Riley's move to trade the really good player for the guy who potentially makes you great. And even the Jimmy Butler thing, although it looks like a criminal underpay at this point, but a lot of Heat fans didn't want to trade Josh Richardson at the time, right? I mean, if you look back at it, it seems crazy now, but I was one of those that had some misgivings about it just because of Jimmy's reputation. But I feel like we got duped about Jimmy's reputation. It feels to me now, as you look at it, like, yes, is he difficult? Absolutely. But he's the kind of difficult you want on your side if you're serious about winning. And so, but like the Panthers made a Heat type move, and then they had the same season as the Heat. Yeah. They went from a number 1 seed to a number 8 seed. The Heat didn't clinch until really the fourth quarter of the second play-in game. The Panthers didn't clinch until the second to last game of the regular season, and they needed the Devils. Even to get the matchup they needed Devils. They both beat the best teams in their respective leagues, not their respective conferences, with huge stars on both. And they both have gone on ridiculous runs on the road also. Even more so the Panthers than the Heat. The Panthers have just won every road game. So ton of parallels there. So I think they are feeding energy off of each other. And the fact that you had, Gabe Vincent, Haywood Highsmith, Udonis Haslem, all going, Jovic, all going to the Panther game, during their own series,
right?
Is kind of cool. It's pretty cool.
Well, let's get into, as we're here with Ethan Skolnick. By the way, you know him, of course, and you love him. 5 on the Floor, CEO of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So for game 2 tonight, Ethan, I know we both kind of feel like, the Celtics will probably win a close game, but I think we both hope we're wrong about that. What are your keys tonight for the Miami Heat if they're going to get it done and take that commanding 2-0 lead?
Well, I think the same key for every game in this series is Jimmy and Bam can't wait. That's how I feel about this series. Like, Jimmy has this tendency at times during the regular season more so to kind of get other guys involved. My thing is the role players are going to feed off his energy and in particular Bam's energy. Bam's energy is not the constant. And I don't mean that doesn't play hard, but I just mean his aggressive energy. But when he comes out aggressive, Jimmy and Bam took 14 of the first 20 shots in game 1. Like, they didn't coddle to the role guys. They went, and then the role guys each had their own pocket of the game. There was the Lowry period in the first half. There was Strus, who had 13 points in the third quarter. There was Kevin Love's outlet passes, and then there was a lot of Caleb Martin late. And so they got that from those 4 guys, but it's not because they made an extra effort to set those guys up. What they did was they took the game into their own hands, and that needs to happen again. And look, if Jimmy and Bam are going to be 2 of the top 3 players in a game overall, they're going to win. And in the last game, they were the top 2 players. And so, I have a lot of respect for Jaylen Brown, and obviously Tatum is a superstar, although I think somewhat overrated as one because he has a lot of variance with his efficiency. We saw it in the last game. But the coaching matchup is such a mismatch in this series that it's really about, if Jimmy and Bam can be aggressive, get you into the game, let Eric close it. And let the role guys kind of all have their moments and let Eric close it. I think from a tactical standpoint, I think Spoelstra, as Brady Hawks talked about, does not do a lot in terms of scheming for the first game. That comes later. So I think he'll make adjustments before Mazzulla can make adjustments. You may even see a little zone tonight. We didn't see that in game 1. I do think Haywood Highsmith is going to get some of the Zeller minutes, and he's another guy who can guard Brown and Tate. So they'll do some different things tonight, but I really think it comes down to aggression from Bam and Jimmy. That's the key, and then you hope that the shooting follows.
Yeah, really good stuff here from Ethan J. Skolnick. Yeah, I know, Ethan, you're in the home base in South Florida for the next few games. You mentioned to me you plan to go up there to Boston for game 5. So I guess when you do that, and enjoy the clam chowder, if there even is a game 5, because the Heat could wrap it up before then. I'm just throwing that out there. But when you do go up there, enjoy the chowder and enjoy counting the quarters.
Yes, I will count the corners. I gave Celtics fans $1, and they gave me 3 quarters back. That's how this works. We'll see what the excuse is tonight. I mean, I hate to be that guy. Just before we close here, I hate to be that guy who's always harping on the media stuff when it comes to the Heat. And we just did an episode with Alex Kennedy where we touched on some of the reasons for this. But I really am on strike from watching a certain 4-letter network. It's unwatchable.
Yeah, it is. It's unwatchable. I rarely watch these days.
I know I can. And even last night watching TNT's NHL studio show is a total breath of fresh air. It's like you actually have elite former players breaking down the game, like Wayne Gretzky and and King Lundqvist and all the rest of that. And that's the thing. And that Panthers and Heat both play today. They both play today. What is Alex talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about.
No, well, I think that was last. I think. Okay.
Oh, because it went so late into the night. Yes. Yeah, because they were playing till 2 a.m. That's a great point.
Yes, I get that. And no, I'm not calling hero for Lillard. I'm just simply saying that if something like that was to happen, Heat fans wouldn't be so upset about it, Alan. But no, I don't. Honestly, I think that Portland's going to do the stupid thing and hold on to Dame and trade their assets to try to support Dame instead of trading Dame to get more assets to go along with their young core. So there you go.
I love it. And I agree with this comment here from Chad. We do love being the underdog. It's worked for the Panthers and Heat to this point. Ethan J. Skolnick, thank you so much for the time, sir. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you, Alex.
Awesome. Always a good time when the boss man stops by. So, guys, I want to let you know, in addition to being brought to you by BetterEdge.com, use our code 5RSN. Better Edge. They take the sports book out of it, legal sports betting in Florida, because you're betting against other people. It's quite ingenious. You want to check out betteredge.com. That's BETTOR edge.com with our code 5RSN. They're going to give you a $20 gift just for signing up. I want to make sure you guys know we are also brought to you by our friends at You Brake Wheel Fix. They're back, the complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to a sidewalk curb? I know I have. U-Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, curb rash. Are your wheels fading or peeling? You don't need to replace them. U-Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new, offering complete refinish options through powder coating, matching, and polishing. U-Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're looking to give your ride a new look, you can get customized wheels. You can get them done Miami Heat colors, Vice colors, Panthers colors, Dolphins colors, Hurricanes colors. They offer car customizing options such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. They are located just south of Aventura. You can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at ubrakewheelfix.com. They're really active on all social media platforms at ubrakewheelfix. So shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. We are also brought to you by prizepicks.com and the PrizePicks mobile app. Guys, I'm on the PrizePicks mobile app every single day, especially when you've got Heat playoff games, Panthers playoff games. You simply select 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, predict if they're going to go over or under, more or less than their stat projections, and you win real money if you get all your predictions correct. It combines my love for parlays and daily fantasy. Sign up today. Again, this is fully legal in the state of Florida, by the way. Easy to deposit, very easy to withdraw, get paid in just seconds. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks mobile app. Use our code 5. That's FIVE, and they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. PrizePicks truly is daily fantasy made easy. All right, guys, I feel like crap. I'm getting over a cold. I'm going to lose my voice any second now, so I am going to run. We will talk to you again next time on another Donno Drop. Make sure to subscribe and like 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.